Hello. Here's the 100E jacked up. I positioned it here and jacked it up in preparation for doing this repair, getting this repair panel in place in this area here. I ground all this out, this wheel arch. Here's a couple of clips from when I did that and showing you what they'd done. I don't want to criticise, but sometimes you wonder quite what people were thinking. I mean, they've had a go at forming the shape of an arch there, but it's just been fitted in the wrong place. And there's the remnants of the top edge of the arch there. They could have done it a bit better than that, really. I mean, it wasn't a bad effort, was it? Bit of shrinking on there. And I cut this piece out. Here it is. Here's the piece. So that's gone. Yeah, I've just had a thought actually. I think this repair panel's a little bit short there. And I think it might be 105E Anglia. It says Anglia on it there, look. But I think it's a 105E Anglia. That's why it didn't fit, and that's why it ended up too low. And that's why it's got this flange here. Yeah, I just had a thought then, and I think that's right. That's 105E Anglia. That's why it didn't fit. But last night I came out to the garage and I started poking at the floor. And I realised there's some area of rust that's a hell of a lot worse than this. So I think I need to tackle that first, and I'll show you what I found. This area here is really, really bad. If I can't mend this, the car's not drivable. It's, you know, it'd be a waste of time doing the brakes and everything if I can't mend this. So I've been thinking about how to go about mending it. I decided the first thing to do is to take the mats out, which I've done, and take the seats out, which I've done. So that's good. I noticed that the driver's seat had been bolted further back than normal, so the original owner must have been a very tall person. Anyway, nonetheless, back to this. So you can see the problem. This needs to be supported better, so I need to kind of jack it up here, get this to touch on here, and then capture it. But really I need to replace this rear end of this section. There's good metal here, you know, on the tunnel, which is what you'd expect. So if I can replace this, I can then basically, you know, put a single piece in there. Not too difficult. Yeah, so I think what is joining the car together on this side is this remnant of inner sill. There's nothing here. And in fact, if you look at that piece of metal, it looks like it's pulled away from the piece behind by about, I don't know, it's hard to say where those pieces would have been touching, but you could imagine that it's come away by about 1/8 of an inch, if that, about 2 mil, let's say. So that's not a good situation. This area here is all damaged, the area underneath here, although this piece does seem to be okay. So I've got numerous repairs to do under there. Without repairing them, it's not worth doing any of the others, because this is really structural. Okay, so I'm going to have a think exactly what I'm going to do next, and then when I've done something, I'll bring you back to show you what I've done. I was going to build up the front brakes and put those on, but for instance, I don't want to pipe the brakes because I'll probably have to disconnect things. So I think I do really need to concentrate on the structure of the vehicle before I go back to trying to get it driving. And I'm sure you'd agree that that's the most sensible thing. There's nothing here that can't be done. What would be really good was if I had one of those, like a rotisserie, what they call a rotisserie. That would be really handy. But I didn't really intend to completely strip the vehicle down. So I'm going to try and do it like this. I'll probably live to regret that decision. Okay, righto. Okay, back in a bit then. Too much yakking from me, isn't it? Too much yakking. Okay, back in a bit. Hi. A little bit of retrospective video. I wondered how to get the back seat out, and I received some advice from 100e.com, the forum, the Facebook forum actually, and it said to unhook these hooks which go into those slots, and then undo the bungee cord there, and then pull it forward and up, and then you have things up there that hook into there. I'd found these and pulled it forward, and I could feel the bungee cords, but I didn't know that the back and the base were in one piece for a start. I took out the divider board to give me a better view of what was going on, and once I could see what was going on, I could do it. Like the gentleman on the forum said, once you see it, you know what to do, but you can't see it when it's in place. Okay, righto. I think my phone's going flat, so okay, I'll leave it at that for now, and I'll go think where I can put this now. Okay, see you in a bit. Hello. I've taken this piece of trim off here, and there's a bit of rust there, but there's some remnants of some sort of a nest or something in here. So I'm going to get a shovel and get rid of this. So let's use my phone to help me see. I'm kind of keeping a little bit of distance. Oh, I can see a little skull there. What would you say that is, a mouse? think we can see the reason why this area has rusted out. Because of all the urine coming from there. Yeah, this side don't look too bad. So bad. I'll just get this side with the vacuum, I think. Don't know what this little square bit is for. Anyway, that looks a bit better. I'll just get the rest of it with the vacuum. Okay. Stage 1 of the repair. Tidy up. Actually, I'll backtrack on that. Stage 1 of the repair. Get the car up in the air as high as I can. It's, the paint's really good here. I think it must have had like a cover on it and it's ended up kind of polishing it in effect. I'll get the vacuum in now and get a bit more of it out. Okay, the car's jacked up. I've vacuumed out the inside. I've vacuumed out that area there, removed a mouse nest and vacuumed it out. So this is very poor. So I think my best bet is to remove all the old repairs and just kind of reappraise the situation right from the worst case scenario. I think this is a repair, although it seems to be welded in there, but it's not welded there. Okay, the other thing I'll do is I'll take this piece off and see what we've got. Oh, there we go. I'll just bust these rivets and get this off. See what we've got here. But I think that's either the remnants of a wing. I doubt it actually. It's probably just a piece that they've made there. But it is the right sort of shape. I'll have to get that dimension, check that it's right. It would appear that whoever made this piece, and probably this piece, appears to have done a relatively good job of it, because, you know, this is nicely made. Yeah, it's just rusted out though, unfortunately. This looks like it was got some sort of galvanising or something, but this piece here doesn't look too bad, does it? It looks like it's spot welded as well. Looks like it's been spot welded, which, you know, is a better than average job, isn't it? But in reality, there was no need to redo this piece. This piece is all right. And here's the remnants of the old sill here. There's a good way and a bad way of having the guard on your grinder. This is the bad way, because if you're doing it like that and it catches, it tends to kick it towards you. If you got it like this, it's the way I normally have it, and you're grinding, if it catches, it goes that way, which is less harm. It's less likely to dig in with it that way. So I need to get down to what's original and what's still sound of the original, which doesn't appear to be very much, and where I can add on to the original to kind of reconstruct things. That's the jacking point there. I'm going to probably just cut that off completely. Okay. I'm not sure why they chose to cover this up. Doesn't look too bad to me. But you can see that they were using like 1/8 inch grind cutting discs, which was probably what was available at the time. But this seems pretty sound, so I'm pretty sure the door is at the original dimension. I'll see about getting this piece off here. Feels quite strong, that does. Okay, back in a bit. That's not good, is it? Imagine if that had walked away and left that. I've just kind of damped it out a bit. It was glowing red hot in the middle there. Ow! Okay, I think that's got it. Whew, that was from grinding this sill. I must have put some sparks over there. Just shows you can't be too careful. Heart goes out to Brent at Half-Ass Customs. You know, whole shop burnt down. Heartbreaking. Okay, righto. I tried punching these pop rivets out. There's pop rivets along here. You might not be able to see them because I haven't put the light on the camera. Just trying to punch the pop rivets out of there. Righto, back in a bit. I've punched the pop rivets out. And what I'm doing now, and I just stopped to get a bit on camera, is this flange is all bent over like that. So I'm bending it up vertical. It's supposed to be vertical. That looks a bit better. You know, sort of get back to basics and make sure the basics are right. That's the motto I'm following. I don't know whether to take that piece off there. It's a heavy lap. It's just put over, so it's going to harbour rust underneath. I think I'll take that plate off. Maybe I'll leave it in for now. I'm looking at this area down here. Well, this isn't adding anything to the job, is it? This piece. I think I'm going to cut that off, this piece here, make a copy of it in new metal, and then look about welding it on. Should be quite easy to make something like that, I think. Bit of a taper on it, but slight curve. I'll use the camera to record what the piece that this has broken off from the very last part of it, and that very last part of it is welded there somehow. So I'm looking to see how is that. Oh, there it is. That piece there is the remnants of it. I think it's welded on to that section there. It's certainly not got tabs and spot welded. It's kind of put on and welded, isn't it? I don't know if that one was spot welded. I don't know. But I think I'll try and cut it off as best as I can, and so make a judgment as to whether this metal here is strong enough to accept the replacement. This piece here is a little bit degraded. I think I'd rather get this piece in place before I do the inner sill. Okay, righto. I'm not looking for concourse restoration, I'm just looking for restoring the structural integrity. Yeah, there's a hole there, I think. Yeah, and there. I think I could do with replacing this section, couldn't I, from here out to where it would join the inner sill there. Trouble is, if you just keep cutting out the rusty bits, there'll be nothing left. You've got to have something there to give you a reference, haven't you, for what you know, what you got, what you're supposed to have. If I cut this out, I wouldn't have anything showing me what the shape is supposed to be like. For instance, this little flange here tells me where the floor is supposed to be. I could do with getting that trim panel off, I think. I've got to start somewhere, haven't I, and start rebuilding. I suppose what would make the most sense would be to get a confirmation of the depth of the inner sill from the top edge to down there. I mean, that might be the bottom edge there, and we've got it kind of here as well, and I think it's more or less parallel all the way along. So if I was to get a strip of metal and weld it on to give a datum here, and say that that's the bottom of the inner sill, and weld it to this piece, which actually is still quite sound. That's still quite sound. I'm talking about like trim the bottom inch off and weld it on there. Extend it forward, you know, along here, at least to this area here, let's say, where this piece is still in one piece, and then rebuild this piece onto it, when this piece is done, this piece can be done, and then when they're all done, I can look at this piece here and that piece there will just be patched in. It's just a flat piece. It's not particularly massively structural. Well, it is structural, but as part of a whole, it ain't like an individual structural member. Got to start somewhere, and I'll tackle this area here as a separate job. Although it would be good to have it all tied together a little bit better than it is. Well, it's just a nightmare, isn't it? What an absolute nightmare. But you mustn't get disheartened or despondent. Need to start getting new metal in, and then attaching more new metal to the new metal. Righto. I'll start doing a bit of measuring then, and I'll bring you back when I've got some progress to show. Cheers then. Bye. I'm going to take some datum measurements off this side so I know what I need to do for the other side. And what I'm trying to measure is the depth of the inner sill. Okay, now I've had a bit of an idea, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. First of all, I'll tip you upside down and put you in there. Can you see these holes? I'll take the holes as a datum. I won't bother with that one, but there's one there, one there. I'll just do these 4. Okay. And I thought, well, how can I measure the depth down to the bottom of here? I thought, let's use this like a micrometer. Let's use this like a micrometer. So I'll centre it up over the hole. Okay, that, you know, you've got to sort of flatten that, but that is the dimension. I've never done this before, so it's a bit of an experiment. Look at that, 6 inches dead on. It looks like that was a bit of a design, you know, something they set early on in the design stage. Six inches. So yeah, let's just say it's 6 inches all the way along, because it certainly doesn't step. As close as damn it. So I'm just going to use 6 inches as a datum then. So let's have a look, see how wide a band of metal we need to put on the other side. So I can just put this here like this. And that's how much is missing, look. About 1.5 inches. So let's establish the principle that I'm going to put a piece of metal along here. So where could I join on? Well, it needs to be higher than that, doesn't it? It wants to be kind of up here, doesn't it, like this? Maybe a bit lower here, actually, to leave these holes. I think, you know, the metal will be alright up here. I can get a weld to it. So I need a piece of metal from there to, I don't know, let's say maybe around about here, and then I can treat that other bit there as a separate job. Yeah, and that'll be within the realms of where I've cut that metal out there. So let's come to here, or I might juggle that depending on what material I've got. So I think I need to cut that out. I might be able to cut it out and then cut the circles into it, you know, relieve it for the circles. I don't know. Or maybe just bridge across the circles. Probably simplest is best. It won't be butt welded, I don't think. It'll be a small lap weld. Okay, so the other thing I need is the dimension down to the floor. Oh, I suppose I could just get it from the other side, couldn't I? I can get the dimension down to the floor from that side, can't I? Yeah, so I won't worry about that. So I'll just come in now and slice this off. Okay, sounds like a plan. Got to get rid of this horrible crap. All right then. Righto, back in a bit. There's the first piece of metal just cut out and kind of offered in, and it is actually slightly low. So to get my 6-inch dimension, I'll have to trim the bottom. I'm just looking now with the light and thinking, do I want to shove it up a bit higher? I might put it a little bit higher, and I've put it on that side of the existing inner sill. There's a little joggle on these holes, you know, a little what you call it, dimple die sort of effect. So I'll probably hammer and dolly that out to make it flat. I just want to know why it's not sitting flat here. I might also just draw around this bit and trim it a bit lower, so it's only got like a 1/4 inch overlap, or maybe let's say a 1/2 inch. Yeah, I think I'll knock it up about a 1/4 inch to give me about a 1/2 inch overlap, and I'll double check that I can trim off to 6 inches at the bottom, and I think that'll do for my first piece. And I'll trim it here as well, and I'll trim it there as well, and you can see there where I need to just hammer the dimple die effect out of the inner sill. Don't know why that piece is all dented in there. Okay, righto. I'll get this in, and it's something to build from. Righto. Okay, I'll catch you in a bit then. Hello. Okay. I've got my first piece of new metal in. It's welded. Well, I say it's welded. It's welded all the way along here. It's welded both sides actually. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how well those have taken now that I'm looking with a close light. But it doesn't really matter because it's welded on this side. All the way down there. Oh, and I put a bit of weld there as well, where this piece had come away from this piece. The other thing I did was I'm going to poke the camera through the floor, see if you can see. I put a clamp kind of from the rear spring area forward to a chassis section under here, forward to there, just to brace the car. you know, because it's so weak in this area. There's so little left of it. I didn't want it spreading, so I'm kind of using the door as a gauge. You know, that gap's not too bad. It's sort of, it's as wide there, as it is down here. So I think that will just keep it tensioned up while I'm doing this work. I probably should have done that first, but you know, hey ho, you can't always act with 20/20 hindsight, can you? When you know, when you're doing something for more or less the first time. Okay, so we've got a nice strong piece of metal here now. This feels stronger than it did with that tensioning it up. Okay, so the next job, which will be a job for another day, will be to kind of reconstruct this piece under here, because what I can do is bring it out and weld it to this piece. I say that's the next job, who knows, it might not be. I might choose to basically do something similar along here. I might choose to delete all this crap, get rid of all this, and weld myself a new piece on here. I don't know. It might be a case of cutting the edge off the floor, cutting it, welding the new piece on right from up here, you know, right up here, plug weld maybe, and then reconstruct the floor, which wouldn't be very difficult. That might be the best way of doing it. You know, each little bit is different, isn't it? It's quite daunting, isn't it, that there's so much rust still. You know, these were motor cars built by human beings, and human beings can restore them. That is going to be it for today's little session. I've got some ideas and I feel quite happy with my progress, so I hope you think that that's okay. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then, bye. Hello. I'm going to start making a bit of an attempt to get something back into this area, and I'm going to start with this piece here. I'm going to cut this back and here, take out this piece of metal, release it from the piece below, and then let a piece of metal in. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do here. I think I need to get rid of this piece of metal here because that's welded onto the tunnel. Probably best if I only had the tunnel there, and I'm not sure quite what happened there. Looks like some weld, but I think if I can get a piece of metal in this area, that will start the ball rolling, and it'll be a practice for this, for when I need to do it here. So I'll start cutting then, and I'll bring you back in a little bit. Hello. Right, I've prepared the area to weld a piece in, and what I imagine is that I'm going to do plug welds along there, plug welds along there, or maybe welds, not sure. Welds down here, plug welds along there, and then welds along here, and just leave a drain there. The inside of this box section actually looks pretty good, this area. I might put a bit of paint in there clean it with a wire wheel and put a bit of paint in there just to give it some element of protection. But I think if I can get a piece of cardboard now and make a pattern, get a piece of metal cut out, I can get that in there, and that'll kind of set me up for the next bit, and at least get a small amount of strength back into the area. Okay, back in a bit then. I'll show you more when there's more to show. Okay, I've made my panel. I've drilled it for the plug welds. I've put a little bit of a shape in it there, and I've put a little bit of a shape in it there. What I've realised is that these things here don't quite reach from here to here, so I'll have to think about that, or make my patches slightly shorter so I can get in with these. I think I'm in a position to try and weld this though. It's not a bad fit all the way around. Okay, wish me luck then, and I'll show you what it looks like in a few minutes. Started the welding. I've put the plug welds in along there, and it's not looking too bad, to be honest. I've just put a little clamp there, and I've got to weld along there, and I won't need to weld along there, but yeah, it's looking okay. Looking okay, I think. That's pretty well attached, to be honest. Actually, this one burnt through. I burnt through on this one. That wasn't very good. These are okay though. These are pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with them. I'll bring you back when I've done a little bit more. Look, I've welded that plate in. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest. The welds seem to have taken quite well. I'm developing my skills a little bit, so I'm pleased with that. And I've made an attempt at a little bit of shape on this one, but not a lot, obviously. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad. It wants more welding, but I want to run a wire brush over the metal, you know, where it's adjoining the rustier metal. Like for instance there, I haven't cleaned that bit properly. It's a very small lap, it's only about 1/4 of an inch, so there shouldn't be any problems with moisture getting in and causing big problems. These are sort of about 5 little bursts. So imagine if there was another one there, that would actually be kind of okay, wouldn't it? You know, I think in this situation, it's not realistic to expect 100%. I suppose I could do 100%, but you're supposed to do 100% for MOT standards, but this car is exempt from MOT. This would have, I've said it before, so excuse me for repeating it, but years ago this would have been what was, you know, judged acceptable for a weld. Okay, so we've got 1 new piece of metal, 2 new pieces of metal. Can you see that is red in there? This this kind of bonder primer arrived a few minutes ago, so I'll just put a bit of bonder primer in the box section before I capped it off, and I painted underneath that bit as well, the other side of that piece. Okay, I don't know if anybody has the same problems, but you can imagine if I'm leaning in this doorway, after I've been going for a while, my back starts to ache, so it would probably make sense to have a break now, and you know, just let me recover a little bit. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. That's pretty good. I think one of the major things in progress is deciding what you're going to do and then getting on and doing it. Okay, the next piece to come under attention is this piece here, that piece there, which I will probably do as a separate piece to this piece. So I might just try and concentrate on this piece, and what I'll probably do is cut the top layer away. So you can see I've already cut it there. Cut the box section off, reconstruct the box section, reconstruct a new top piece, and then weld it in, attaching it to the new inner sill. Okay, righto. I might just cut this out for fun. I was quite impressed that this flange was okay on this bit though. Righto, waffling, back in a bit. Hello. I've made an attempt at some sort of a box section repair thing. I deleted a feature on this piece in as much as it tapers up. I thought, well, that just makes it hard to make. So I've deleted that feature. Okay, leave it with me. It's not looking too bad. I'll finesse it a bit and bring it back when there's more to show. This is the repair piece that I've been working on, and I realised that I do need to reduce the height at the outboard end by about 1/2 inch. So you can see where I've put a couple of lines there. So I'm going to cut those and bend the bottom piece up. This came flush with the bottom of my inner sill, but my inner sill needs about 1/2 inch trimming off the bottom, so it wouldn't fit. Okay, righto, back in a bit. I need to trim there as well, and a little bit there maybe. You can see where the line is. This is where I've actually altered it a little bit. I've watched Scott at Coldwell Motors, and he talks about leaving it a bit soft, in other words not a tight radius, so that you can come back and make slight adjustments if need be. I can see there's a little bit of a twist in it actually, but I can just sort of bend that. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad, but I need to take that bit out of the height. Okay, back in a bit. Hello, right, here's my piece just kind of thrown in, and yeah, it's not looking too bad. I need to get rid of this piece of metal here, and then I can look at putting a piece of metal across there, coming down and then along to here. I might have to do it in more than one piece. Yesterday I noticed that this piece isn't very well attached at the back, so I need to address that. These are all things that I found late on last night, so I've left it till today to tackling them. So you can see where I've cut that and bent that. That needs welding up before I put it on. You can see down there, so that gap needs welding up. I've reformed the flanges, and that's not looking too bad, to be honest. I think that's good enough. Well, it's actually pretty good, to be, to be perfectly frank. I think this flange needs bending down a little bit more. Oh, and trimming off to like a sort of 1/2 inch. Probably best to go a little bit generous on the size of the flange, because I've got to hit it with a plug weld. Okay, righto. I want to just grind a little bit away from underneath there. There's like an extra piece, but this brace is in the way, so I'm going to have to undo the brace and do a little bit of clean up on the bottom edge of this, and then I can look at making this piece, which will come back to there. Okay, yeah, it's not looking too bad, not looking too bad. Okay, back in a bit. I've cleaned up those two flanges there. I've revisited this piece and gone along there and made sure that the welds have actually taken, and put some better welds there. these welds here are welded on the other side, so it's all welded this side, so it's not too bad. I appear to have blown a hole there. I'll have to come back to that and try and fill it in. Okay, so this piece is pretty firm now. Where's my patch? Patchy poo. Okay, here's my piece. You can see in there where it's welded. It's got good penetration. I cut it and bent it up, and I've trimmed the flanges down. So hopefully that should fit in now. So I'll get that in place and start welding it in. Okay, back in a bit. I've got plenty of light in here. Look, I've got my LED spot lamp and an old-fashioned, well, it isn't old-fashioned, but what was the latest thing, low energy bulb on the what would you call this, inspection lamp. Okay, I've done some welding, quite pleased with it. I've done all the welding on the inside. I've come all the way up there. I've welded that little bit there. I've welded that little bit there. Haven't quite got anything in there. I might have one more go at getting something in there. I've welded this on the inside and actually managed to run a bead there, so I'm pleased about that. That was a series of spots at the bottom, and I've done something here. I'm not 100% sure if I've done it right. It's awkward to see in that angle. I will put spot welds on this bottom flange. That's hot. I'll put spot welds on the bottom flange and the flange at the back. But I wanted to back it up with some heavy welds there, so it's really well attached. I don't know if I mentioned it, but this is 16 gauge, this piece. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'll grind these bits down there, and I'll hammer and dolly this to kind of get them aligned a little bit better, and then I can have a look at putting a piece of floor in. Yeah. Oh no, I suppose first of all I need to do this piece, don't I? Yeah, I need to do this piece from here back to there, which will be far easier if I'm doing it like from above. Okay, and I'll do it like I did there. I'll kind of try and make it as simple as I can, yet still fulfilling the task. Ooh, that sounds fancy, doesn't it? And once it's all done, I'll kind of come back and put some extra welds along here. That's nice and strong now, that is. That's pretty robust. I think I've put a lot of strength back into this area here. Okay, righto. That'll do for now. Thanks very much for joining me in the garage. Take care, and I'll catch you next time, where hopefully I can make a bit more progress. Cheers then. Bye.